Okay, Carly. So last time we talked about your family a lot. Well, not a lot. We kind of touched on your family. That your dad's not really around so much, and you have a really good relationship with your mom. Are there any other family members that you feel like have an effect on you still?
Yeah. I was always really close to my mom's side. So she has four brothers and one sister. And her closest brother and sister are the ones that I got to know the best. And so my uncle, who is bipolar and schizophrenic, was really close to me throughout like my youth. He helped me, whenever I needed it as like a father figure. And he lived in Wisconsin and also moved down to Columbia after we did. So I kind of got to see him even though I moved, and that was nice since I didn't see my dad as much after I moved down to Columbia. And his issues with mental illness affected me not as much when I didn't see him, but when I did and he wasn't doing well. Like for a little while, he lived with me and my mom, like in the transition stage when he was moving. And it was really stressful for everybody, like moving states is. But he, had a breakdown, and it was the first time I'd ever seen him like not stable and on his medicine. And basically, it just happens when he doesn't take his medicine. And so he, was yelling and going throughout the house, making a scene, and like I was just, it wasn't the Ricky that I knew, it was just like this scary man.
How old were you then?
I was probably like 10 at the time, 10 or 11. And so that was like the first time I really got like a glimpse of his whole illness, and that kind of made me have a whole different perspective about who he was, and made me really appreciate, when he was doing well and was healthy. So
had he been diagnosed before you were like old enough to recognize, like the rest of your family knew he was struggling with this stuff?
Yeah, he kind of found out about the illness when he was like in his late 20s, like when it comes out, and had been, diagnosed and was on medication and everything when I was growing up. So.
Right. Does he have any kids at all?
No, he doesn't. He was in a relationship before he really kind of got diagnosed and was dealing with his illness, but it didn't really last. It's just really hard to keep a solid relationship with somebody.
Yeah, it must be hard to even just be related to deal with your relatives, let alone start a new relationship.
Definitely, it is. It's crazy. So that's always been like it's a strong relationship, and my mom and him are really strong, his brother and sister, but it's he's really mean when he's like not doing well, and so it's hard on my mom. She's a sensitive person just like I am. So
do you feel like it's hard on you too? Like, does it affect you as well?
Yeah, definitely, especially when he's mean to her, because they have a lot more past, so
it's hard to see people hurt the people you love.
Exactly. And I know he's not doing it out of like his actual heart. It's just the mental illness, but it's definitely hard to see. Like my mom definitely gets really worked up about it still, and like, oh, I hate him and all this stuff. And I don't want to hear my mom say that about her brother, but so yeah, we deal with that, and most of the time he does well. So usually we can all be one happy family, but not all the time for sure.
Did he have any influence on your decision to go into social work? Like, is working with mental health and stuff like that something you're interested in?
Yeah, definitely. Just being able to see what mental illness could do to somebody made me so interested in it.
Maybe like how it could affect the rest of the family too.
Exactly.
Being part of that, feeling that.
Being inside of the circle, and yeah, and not even being directly, like I wasn't super close to him in the family, but being like his niece, it's just, you feel that wave in some way. So I definitely just wanted to learn more about it and what other kinds of illnesses there were. It definitely got me on that track, I feel like.
Right.
For sure. And then my mom's sister, who is also another really close relative of mine, has Jamie, who's her daughter, and it's like my closest cousin, because I don't have a lot of like family that are cousins, either older or way younger. Mm-hmm. So Jamie was in college in Texas and got in a car accident. I was like 9 when it happened, I think, 8 or 9. And she got hit head on and was pronounced dead at the scene and had really bad traumatic brain damage. and they did bring her back, and she can walk and talk and all that, but she had to relearn it all. And so it was really like I was always around and like in the hospital with her and like helping with her recovery, and it did play a big role in like me feeling like I wanted to help people.
Right.
So that definitely was part of my choice.
So did you want to focus more on like a hospital setting then to help people like
Yeah,
Janie?
I would say so. Just I got to see like all the interactions between nurses and doctors and how everybody works as a team in the hospital, and it's like it's a really cool place just to see somebody grow and like relearn how to be human again, I guess.
Yeah, that's scary. It's hard to deal with.
It was definitely, and then seeing how it affected like my aunt who, you know, had to see her daughter do all that. It was really sad. But
do you feel like they had adequate, like maybe they didn't necessarily need a social worker, but do you think like maybe counseling or something could have helped them through it a little bit more? Or? That's awesome. That's awesome that you want to be that person for other people.
Yeah, she definitely didn't have a whole lot of support because my aunt was divorced, and so her dad isn't really around, and so it was a lot of, we had to focus on the inner family to look to each other for support. So
do you almost see a little bit of yourself in her because she also doesn't have like a father figure that's
definitely
in her life?
Yeah, and she just kind of grew up and had to be this different person all of a sudden and dealing with that, and she's still able to know that she's not the same. So it's really weird how some brain image, like you'll be different and not realize you're different, but like she can remember how she used to be, and so it's sad like knowing that can be, you know, a source of depression for her and
right.
all that,
and then lead to more like mental illness like your uncle was dealing with.
Right.
Not necessarily lead to the same problems,
no,
but
yeah.
something in the same vein.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you see yourself like working towards those goals? Like what is your
the plan of action? I'd like to get my master's in social work, and then hopefully go to a beach, and then wherever there's a good job for me in the hospital is where I would see myself. I want to definitely be licensed clinical, and I don't know, just recently I've been thinking about working more, just kind of what I want to do specifically in the hospital, because there's still so many options.
Right.
And I, like with Jamie and all the traumatic brain injury I saw and how like it can affect people, I'm still super interested in that, and maybe want to explore, you know, maybe specializing in a traumatic brain injury unit or something like that.
Right. Maybe next time we can maybe focus on different like resources that may be available to you in the future, or even places you might want to interact with like over the next few years as you're finishing your master's. Some places you could do your placement at, or
that would be really good.
Figure out where you're going with your life.
Awesome. Sounds good.